Hey guys, sorry about the trumpets in the background. Hopefully you won't be able to hear them too well. We're going to finish up the different types of tissues. Remember the first one was epithelial tissue. That's an E, I promise. Epithelial tissue. 2 was the connective tissue. And then today we're going to do 3 and 4. These are not nearly as big as these two were, so we can get it done all in under 6 slides. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is the nervous tissue. The nervous tissue obviously is used for your brain, your spinal cord, and your nerves. So here's a little picture right over here. And so the brain is all nervous tissue. The spinal cord, which runs most of the way down your back right there, and then all the little nerves that go out with it. So all of those are made out of nervous tissue. The function of the nervous tissue is to regulate and control body function. So pretty much everything you need to keep you alive, all done by nervous tissue. Okay, next slide. Turn. Wait for it. There it is. Okay. The types of cells that we find in nervous tissue are very simple. There's 2 main types. The first one is neurons. Neurons are these types of cells, which you probably learned back in biology, are the ones that generate and conduct nerve impulses. So there's a change in the polarity of the cells. Remember, there's like positive on the outside, negative on the inside, and then a wave flows through it. And it always goes in the direction of dang trumpets. They go from the dendrites, which suck in the information, and then they pass it along to the next one through the axon on that side. And then we've got the supporting cells, which are the non-conductive cells. So these ones can pass information along, these ones can't. They are things like the myelin that surround the axon and what are called glial cells and all sorts of other things. So they're just kind of back here. They're the fluff that your brain cells actually float around in. It's kind of like the matrix in the connective tissue. So supporting cells are non-conductive cells that support, insulate, and protect your neurons, and so they're kind of like little bodyguards for your neurons. Okay, that's it for neural. Very easy. Okay, the last one, the fourth type, muscle tissue. Highly cellular, means it has lots of cells in it. Well vascularized, I can say that word, which just means it has a lot of blood support, so lots of arteries, veins, and capillaries. And obviously we know this one is that they're very specialized for movement. All your muscles are used for moving something, moving your body, moving food, doesn't matter. But all of them are made out of myofilaments. Anytime you see the root MYO, that means muscle. Filament, kind of like the elastic fibers and collagen fibers, are just a long section of proteins. So these are specialized fibers that actually generate the movement. So if you look inside of a muscle cell, you will see these 2 fibers. There's this thin one, which are the blue ones here, and the thick ones, which are these here. And it's these 2 guys working together is what causes your muscle cells to contract. Here's a little bit more complex structure over here, but all you need to know is that these little filaments are what cause the muscle cells to contract. Okay, and then we've got the 3 different types of muscles that we found in our body. The most common one is this one, skeletal muscle, which is also known as voluntary muscle, because you are in voluntary control. If you want to move your hand, you can tell your muscle to do that. So skeletal muscle is voluntary, and it's attached to your skeleton, which is why it's called skeletal. So it's connected to bone. They are long and cylindrical cells, and so you can see that they look like long hollow tubes almost, but they're full of myofilaments. You can see this banding pattern on it is something that's very common for skeletal muscle. The striping is what also gives it the name striated muscle. Striated. Okay? So long cylindrical cells with many nuclei, and you'll notice that all the nuclei are usually squished in between the cells. So there's like a little canal right here, and all the cell nuclei are just squished inside of there, except for that guy. That one's a nice big fat one right there. Okay, second type of muscle that we find is cardiac, and by the word you should figure out where that is. It's found in your heart. It is also striated. You can see there's little stripies in them like this. And that there's 1 nucleus per each of these guys. So these are the big fat ones right here, nucleus, nucleus, nucleus. And they contain something called an intercalated disc. That's just a really strong cell junction. You can see them right here. These dark lines, These are the intercalated discs, and basically what they are, it's super glue to hold your cells together, because you don't want your heart cells falling apart, because that would be kind of bad for you. So the intercalated discs are just super glue that hold your cells together. And you can see that there's some space in between them. It's because they branch out and spread out and gives them more room. And the last type of muscle is smooth muscle, otherwise known as involuntary, because you have no control over it whatsoever. There's no stripes, no striations. They're spindle shape. Spindle shape just means that they're kind of round and oblong and pointy on both ends. They have one nucleus per cell, and they're usually found in the walls of hollow organs like your digestive system. This is what propels food along your small and large intestine and then out of your body. So you have no control over it. It happens all by itself, although there are some chemicals that can speed up and slow it down. So like if someone were to start chasing after you with a knife trying to steal your money, obviously blood flow doesn't need to worry about digesting your food, and so that'll actually slow down or stop until the stress is gone, where you can resume digesting your meals again. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So nervous tissue made out of neurons and supporting cells. Muscle tissue made out of two types of filaments that can contract. Three types of tissue, or three types of muscles. You got skeletal, you got cardiac, and you have smooth muscles. And that's pretty much it, except for my final cartoon. Farewell. And so tomorrow we'll continue working on the packet. We'll talk about muscles and nervous tissue, and then get ready for the test on Friday. All right, someone wants to say hi. See you tomorrow.